Hello there. Welcome to episode number 6 of the Maker Manager Money podcast, a podcast about entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, founders, business owners, and business partnerships, from startups to stay-ups, to inspire entrepreneurs to keep going and future entrepreneurs to just start. My name is Kyle Knowles, and I'm just trying to make some cool content at Kiln. Daddy made you some content. That's K-I-L-N, as in never gonna give you up. Kiln provides working communities that are handcrafted and programmed to elevate lifestyle and performance. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Kiln is the lifetime fitness of co-working communities. Tonight's guest is Benjamin Moffat, CEO and one of 3 founders of Gantry, a design, motion, and video production agency. Gantry just had its 7-year anniversary, and they do work for everyone from Adobe to Microsoft. Gantry prides itself in the ability to turn complexity into simplicity, specializing in cell-style animation, 2D motion graphics, 3D animation, and live-action shoots. Ben is skilled in leadership, business development, and marketing with an educational background focused on liberal arts and behavioral science from the University of Utah. Ben is also a guitarist and songwriter in the Salt Lake City-based band King Niko. Earlier this year, King Niko released their latest single, Pockets, to their 12,000 monthly Spotify listeners. Ben, welcome to the Maker Manager Money podcast. It's so good to see you again.
Hey, Kyle, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
I'm having a little bit of deja vu, and we won't let the listeners in on why we're having deja vu right now. But did you notice I snuck a Rick roll into the opening?
I did, of course. Never gonna give you up. Can you do the voice? That's the thing.
I can't really do it. Can you try it? You sing. Come on, just give it one.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down.
That was a little more Michael McDonald,
Maybe
but
a little bit, yeah.
It's very close.
We're no strangers to love. I love Rick.
For sure.
He's
Rick,
one of the best.
Yes, he is. All right, so you are CEO with your 2 partners, Ian and Corey. They're both creative directories. They're both creative directors. Does that make them the makers and you the manager?
I don't know, man. They're so involved in every component of Gantry that I would say the traditional model of a manager telling them what to do is definitely not the case. I'm not telling them what to do. We're really kind of like a 3-legged stool. So, they're involved in everything, but there's these times when Corey and Ian need to go be creative. And I guess that is a maker. So what I try to do is help steer the ship, free up some of their time, give them the opportunities and the resources they need. I'm like a human shield of business stuff, so they can just geek out. So in a way, yeah, maybe I am the manager and they're the maker.
You've talked about the energy you bring also to the team.
Right? I'm like it's called dad vibes.
You bring that dad energy.
Yeah, I think really, I'm surrounded by people that are much smarter than me. And when I see the art they create, I'm like, well, you're definitely more talented than me. But I've had this history, a bit of a street smarts history. So I'd say I have this, and I've run my own companies off and on since I was probably 27.
Wow.
Just different things that have kind of come and go. So I am able to just kind of help be that voice and almost just like an entity in the room of all right, I think things are going to be okay. Ben's going to help make sure things are okay. Nice. And that's what I like. That's what I love to do.
And you bring that confidence, too, to the team that everything's going to work out.
I never thought about that, but it is kind of a quiet confidence because, I'm just like, we're going to be good. We're 7 years in. We're good now. We're going to be good, and we're going to keep this vibe going. So but I'd never have really thought of myself as a manager or a order giver.
Right.
Yeah. I'm more of a listener and then one that tries to decipher, almost like a babblefish. All right, here's what I'm hearing, and then here's how we can manifest that. So
nice.
Let's go do it.
Oh, I love it. So let's go into that. You mentioned that from the time you're 27 or something. You've been doing different things, working for yourself in different capacities. Let's talk about that just for a second. Was your mom or your dad did they ever own a business or something like that?
So it's funny you just bring that up. They did, and I hadn't really thought about maybe their influence on my entrepreneurial spirit. My mom ran this. People would put ads in the Inquirer, and she'd put an ad, and then people would order these like crystal kits that she would make. And most of her orders came from inmates in prison. So I'm trying to remember the name of her company, but this would have been like 88 or 89, placing ads in the Inquirer, getting orders, and just kind of really mom and pop stuff. And then my father was kind of an executive at Utah Transit Authority.
Okay.
And he was burned out on corporate life, and he went and became an independent consultant.
Okay.
So he kind of was the first that showed me that. I'd say both of them, but my dad kind of went, hardcore all in. And I was like, oh, I'm like a teenager at the time. Like, oh, my dad just quit his like big job, and now he's out there hustling. And I'm like, this is cool. And he seemed a lot happier. And it was just, I think I've always seen it around me. I've seen people go for it. My first job in high school was selling futons, and I worked for this really kind of interesting hippie dude that I was like, cool, this guy's just a regular person, but he started his own company. He has the charisma and like the kind of discipline to do it. So I've always had these role models around me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, those are just like, that's just up until I'm in high school still. I've kind of had these three people that have shown me, yeah, you can do it.
So you didn't have kind of maybe some hesitancy that other people who didn't have those examples maybe have to, you had the guts to go do it because you're like, hey, my dad can do it.
Totally, man. Yeah. And, and I think I saw a lot of it was this pursuit from money and prestige to a lifestyle and just a whole new way of framing their own life. And so I was like, that's cool. Like, I like that. And that really kind of made me want to, as I came into, higher education, graduated high school, college, I had this really rebellious spirit. It was always the Frank Sinatra, I'll do it my way.
Yeah.
And so I struggled with college and being told what to do. And I had great classes. I mean, I went liberal arts, and I'm still being angsty over my liberal arts courses. So, basically in the pockets of working restaurants and just kind of getting by money, I had a few opportunities to start companies, and I went for them. So one was a furniture company called Lou Fox, and I would import furniture from Denmark. Okay. And then this is in the early days of the internet, and sell it on a website that I built. And this is, pre big commerce, pre all these, it was like very custom development and, building a shopping cart module and, trying to skin it. And that's where I was like, and we made money. Like right off the bat, we were selling futons and this kind of this Danish furniture I was importing. And I was like, oh, this is working. And really it's mostly a result of just the courage and the tenacity to go and do it.
Yeah.
And so I've just been very fortunate to have role models and then just kind of be dumb enough to go for it.
Sometimes that's what it takes, right? And so you've worked for other companies and other people, right? And just I really would like to kind of go into the space where you're working for someone else. Do you have any examples of how you were maybe entrepreneurial, even though you were within an organization and it wasn't your company?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, the industry I'm in now is, creative arts, advertising industry. Mm-hmm. And the job I had before Gantry was a company called Verite. And my mentor there was the CEO, this woman named Kim Jones.
Our good friend, Kim Jones.
Yep, yes. She's a lovely human. And I think she saw something in me where she's like, I'm not going to just direct this kid, but I'm going to put him at the bottom. He's going to answer phones for 2 to 3 years. And I'm going to see what he does in that environment. And I think, I thank her for it. She would show me little moves that she was doing on sales, and I'd listen. I was right next to her office, so I could listen to her. And really, I'd say I kind of was like, all right, this can't be my life. I'm 34 answering phones and cleaning up oatmeal bowls, for teenagers that are, programmers and such.
Yeah.
And so I think in that moment, I was like, all right, I need to learn how to understand this industry and then go do what I was good at, which is, selling things, basically helping people get what they need, a broker of sorts. And so I was able to land a few accounts from the receptionist desk and was promoted to a sales coordinator. Okay. And I'd say, that was kind of a spirit of like, I need to just get out of this position I'm in right now because I know my boss sees that I have more. I know I have more. It's up to me to really just show it.
Yeah.
So, I've had other kind of, ideas within restaurants that I've worked at of like, we should really like, I'm making this one drink that's not on the menu and like, we should just make it a menu item and get paid. And we'll quit making Ben's poolside on the side. We'll make it,
a legit
drink.
Order,
and you can get people going. So I think it's just a matter of, I see little pockets of opportunity and like, this could be filled up. And then I usually just speak up.
Yeah.
I'm that guy that never is like, I don't know what that word means. Like just the other day I learned what precipice means. And like my friend's like, you don't know what precipice means? Like on the precipice? I'm like, I really don't, man, but at least I'm here telling you I don't. And if you could tell me and now, now I know.
That's awesome. So willingness to say when you don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a big fan of just like being candid, like brutally candid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that the smartest people in the world are willing to say they don't know when they don't know.
Right. And I love that when I hear that. It's like, cool. Like you don't need to know everything. You don't need to have a snappy answer to every single thing in the world. Like I think it was, do you know the furniture designer, Charles Eames? He's like the Eames chair. Yeah. Yep. He said, 90% of my design is focusing on what I don't know. I'll base my entire career off pursuing what I don't know rather than what I know. And, that led to some of the most, timeless and classic designs we know today just because he was hungry to be not the smartest person in the room and to ask those questions. So people like that really inspire me where they're candid and they're hungry to learn things.
Yeah.
And they speak up when they don't.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, man.
So I guess, you've worked for other people and you've worked for yourself. What do you feel like the biggest difference is transitioning to working for yourself? I mean, obviously even if you have your own company, you are working for someone, right? You've got customers. You're maybe not working for the man anymore, but you have customers. But what is that transition from working for someone else to, forming your own company with a couple of really good coworkers, right, from your former company? And we can talk a little bit about the history and things. But what was that like, and what was the difference between forming your own sort of company, your own organization with your two work buddies, and then before when it was, working for someone else when you were working together as coworkers? Right.
It's the biggest, most like exciting part of it all, I think, is the opportunity to, almost David Bowie yourself. Like maybe you were Ziggy Stardust. I mean, no one's that cool at a corporate job, but let's say, you're going from Ziggy Stardust to Let's Dance David Bowie, two different David Bowies, but you get to decide like, this is who I want to be now. And this is where I want to focus, my effort. Whereas before in the corporate gig, in my instance, it was like, we are going to sell everything at this last company I was at, and they were very successful at it. But I saw, you want to play to somebody, not everybody. And so it was really rewarding. And I think it's something that every entrepreneur gets the chance to do. And the really good ones say, I'm just going all in on this sliver, of the market or this thing that I can see being valuable and interesting to me and hopefully to other people that, want to be involved with it. So I think the ability to unleash your mind a little bit and get away from all right, we're doing all this, we're doing this. I'm just like, I know my agenda, I got to do this, to just really freeing up that brain and saying, all right, I am now, I've seen all of this. I know that I'm good at this, and I know this is in high demand. So let's just go right here. And for me, that's how Gantry's success has been defined since, 7 years ago. Just, we are going to be the premier video production shop in Salt Lake that, does animations that people always go, what? Like, how do they do that? And I just wanted to be a part of something creative. I wanted to be with the weird, brooding, and cool misfit artist type. Those are my people. So I was like, I want to hang out with those type of people for the rest of my career. I want to do different projects every month or so, not like the same thing. And I want to do that via video. And that was the end of the talk. And it's like, cool, let's go build that ship and let's go sell that channel right now.
How long did it take you, Ian and Corey, to kind of like narrow in into that focus then?
We were all pretty much in agreement on it. I think we saw the pitfalls of the omni-channel 360 advertising agency experience. And we realized that at the end of the day, websites always go out of scope, and they're so hard, and there's always something that's broken, and it's tricky to build a website. A video, you get it going, but you build it and then it's done. And so we all I think the focus of Gantry was pretty clear. I shared my vision with Corey and Ian, and they're like, yep, let's just not do websites and apps and UX and PowerPoints. Like, they knew all the stuff that when they were designing, there's like, this stuff sucks. Like, I can't design another.
I noticed you mentioned PowerPoint. Like, no, we don't want to do PowerPoints.
No, man. And that's a lot of it was like listening to artists. So it was just kind of like honing in, like, let's no. And yep, those are the things you were, So it was never like I had the vision, and we were all just pretty much like, we love doing video. We can do great video. So let's just focus there.
I love it. What's your superpower then? What would you say, besides the dad energy, that kind of stuff, what is your superpower that you bring to the table?
Man, I'd say it's just like a genuine passion for the work that we create, more than I'd say the artist. They'll do something and I'll go home and watch it 45 times and like just drool over it. And it's like hearing a great album cut or something to me. The work that the team produces, it stirs me inside. And so I think it's almost like the super fan getting to run the band or be in the band. It's a genuine passion for what we do and what I know we can do to help clients that have a problem to solve. It's like, man, if you come to me with a problem and I can think about it with the team, I know we can do something that will fix your problem and make you look amazing and make people smile or, have some sort of emotional reaction to. I love the emotional aspect of my job. And I think my ability to bring that in and just kind of internalize it and then output it back to clients, and that enthusiasm and that, like, I want you to have the greatest experience here with our team because we are the best. And, I think I'm just I'm that perfect liaison between our team and the client. And, people have seemed to like working with me over my career, and the team that I have seems to like working with me. So I think that's really it, is just, again, I'm the perfect human shield for artists. I know exactly how to keep them busy, keep them paid, keep them with dynamic work, and they never have to send an email. I don't think one of our artists has ever sent a client email in 7 years.
That is amazing.
I don't want them doing that,
Get them focused on.
I want them to have
art.
fun and just like not ever think about like spreadsheets or anything. So, and I really don't want them to do that. It's not like, I really don't want them to do that. And I love doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I can feel and I can sense, just the culture making that the three of you have done at Gantry. So
thank you, Kyle. It's that's everything for us. When you can feel vibe when you're at work anywhere. It's like here at Kiln, like it just feels like, oh, I can be myself here. I can be, I can be my best self here. And so at Gantry, we have that same kind of vibe. Like, come tell your stupid jokes, like bring your weird anime figurines. Like, let's talk about, everything and anything, and let's keep it weird. And then when it's go time, let's go hard and let's make some sweet art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what I'm hearing from you is that, at previous jobs that you're coming into, right? You're coming into a culture. You're coming into something, the processes, the vibe, whatever you want to say about it. But going out on your own, you were able to basically take a blank sheet of paper and actually build a culture that you wanted, right? Not only for your partners, to give them that freedom of creativity, but for yourself. You wanted a place that you could go to, you would feel comfortable. And so I just think it's an amazing journey to kind of hear how you did that and kind of the results for it. And 7 years later,
it's pretty trippy, right? Like,
yeah,
7
something
years
must
later.
be working, right?
Well, it's funny because, like you can tell, right? I think, I've always had this major dude energy, like I can't tell you how many times I've been at a Taco Bell and someone has said, "Are you from California, man?" And, I just echoing back to what you said, I remember in my old job, I would suit up hard, ties, tie bars, but I was always kind of a dude. But anymore, I've just really leaned into my most natural self and being, authenticity is everything. I mean, if you are lucky enough to know who you are, what makes you happy, what you stand for, and then you're brave enough to pursue that, man, your life's going to be great. I don't care what you're doing. You could be washing dishes. And if you've got that going, that's great. So to make a culture of a whole company that's just kind of an extension of that, and be with like-minded artists and Corey and Ian, who are just so remarkable, and every artist, Sean, Lindsay, Kira on our team, I can honestly say I've never really gone to work. I mean, there's been a few times where it's like, oh, that deadline's today. But we always like lift each other up, and yeah, it's a magical thing.
Okay, so the past 7 years, what's one of the most memorable projects you worked on?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say we recently did this video for Adobe, and it was basically a video to help them attract recent college graduates and new people kind of entering the workforce to go work for them. And they dreamt up this really crazy thing where it would be sound bites of their employees talking about the Adobe culture. And then for each sound bite, we would have a different scene of animation. So it's basically like you make a video, usually you pitch a style, and then the whole video's in that style. Well, this video was like, I'd say maybe 8 or 9 styles, and it was, a minute-long video. So it was really snappy, really dynamic, a lot of character animations. I just saw every artist in our team put their own vibe into their scene that they were assigned. Mm-hmm. And then to see it come working in harmony and concert together, all of them like, oh, wow. Like, to me, that video just shows the breadth of our team's work, shows the spirit of our kind of creativity and, lightheartedness. And it recently won an award at this thing called the 100 Show, which is the AIGA, which is a graphic arts association here in Utah. We won an award for it, and we were like, whoa, dude, this is amazing. So it was nice to be acknowledged for that, and it is one of my favorites. And the second favorite is we just did a Barry Gibb clone video where I dressed up as Barry Gibb, and that was fun to wear that much white pants, white shirt, gold necklace. So I'll save that story for another time, but that was another one recently that kind of stood out.
I think we've got time.
Okay, if you've got time, all right.
Go ahead and take a drink.
Let me drink. This is amazing, by the way. All right, here's the story. My brother-in-law works at a high-end restaurant in town, and he tells me for NBA weekend, Nike has reserved his restaurant. And he's like, if you want, dude, I'd let you put your business card in like this to-go bag of cookies so they know who Gantry is. And I'm like, cool, dude. That's so nice of you. I'm like, the business card will be cool. Like, they'll open it up. But what if we had a QR code on there, something, an experience? So we quickly dreamt, and this is over the course of on Wednesday, I find out about this, and the dinner's on Friday. So I dream up this thing. I've been listening to a lot of Barry Gibb and Barbara Streisand. They have an album called Guilty.
Yes.
Okay. So I've been listening to that a lot in my free time. I'm like, what if I dressed up like Barry Gibb and pretended to just be listening to music in my basement? And so when they open the video, it's just me like dressed up as Barry Gibb. And I said, hey, welcome to Salt Lake. We're Gantry. And I basically pitched the company. And then I just say, have a nice time at NBA weekend and we'll see you later. So we make the video. We put the QR code. We print a little printout of the album cover, and it's in the cookies. All right. Okay. The next day, I call my brother-in-law and I go, how did it go, man? And he's like, so it wasn't Nike. And I'm like, so Nike didn't rent out the restaurant? He's like, no, Nike's main agency rented it out to entertain them for the night. And I'm like, oh my God, I just dropped these like cards and like, looks like I'm just backdooring some like deal. So no hits, right? On the video, we're looking, no hits. I go to work the next day. I tell the team, I'm like, cause we've been like frantic, and everyone's excited. And I'm like, telling them, everyone's like, oh my God. And I'm bummed, and I don't usually get bummed. They go, hey, let's just print these out and let's just get them around town. Let's see if it's NBA All-Star Weekend, it'll still be busy. Let's see what happens. So we print out quarter sheets, and then I just went to every crosswalk next to the Delta Center and just taped them up old school, like it was a band flyer.
Yeah.
And dude, we got tons of hits, and we didn't get any business out of it, but we got tons of hits, and people just were like, anyone that saw it and was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. This is like art for the sake of art. And it's just a great example of us reacting quick, being small, and being able to just kind of quickly do something. The team lifting each other up, in a hard time. We pivoted and kind of thought of something new to do. And it ended up being, one of my favorite videos. So
that's great. And we'll be able to put links to both those videos.
Okay.
Then,
Yeah.
in the show notes.
Yeah, they're live. Yeah.
Okay. I can't wait to see both of them.
Yeah, it's a lot of polyester, Kyle.
So what are you most excited about right now?
Right now, I have rekindled my love of music, which has trickled into other parts of my life where I've kind of rekindled my love of art in general. And I've always had a genuine passion for it, but I'm excited about AI challenging humans to have more of a rebellious and human spirit in the work they create. I know that's kind of like a big thing to say, but I think we have become, as artists, not all of us, but I see it. I see a lot of copying, and I see a lot of like, hey, can you do this video exactly in this style? And it's like mood boards, and it's this kind of like looking to other work to then do your work. And that's how art works, the great artists steal.
Right.
Good artists borrow, great artists steal. And I think by nature, art can be derivative, but the special art has that spirit of like, whoa, dude, it just like broke everything. Like, do you remember the first time you heard, for me, it was like, 1991, I heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and I was like, I hadn't heard a rock song like that,
No one had,
or I'm sure. There's countless moments like that, and I think we are going to see some really cool art happening from humans. Like it's already happening, but I think we're going to be seeing a big press for it, and I think the tag of a human-made piece of art will carry a different weight going forward. And I think we'll look at it in a different light and we'll think, what was this person thinking about? I know for me now, I'll look at art and I'll just be like, yeah, okay, yeah, and I think we're going to start seeing more of that connection on a broader scale. I think the general public's going to be looking at art and saying, what were they thinking about? Like, what is, we'll be thinking more than just the instantaneous reaction of it. We'll think deeper about it. So, and I think as the artist, we'll be challenging ourselves to dig into like, what am I? Who am I made of? What do I, what is this piece of art? Why does it need to come out of me? And there will always be your corporate stuff that we need to do, your infographics and stuff. But I still think that spirit will start to carry over into more work. I think you'll start seeing I think we're going to see some pretty cool work over the next 5 to 10 years.
I do too. I think a lot of people are, Chat GPT, these kinds of things that are just spitting out, blog posts, or, now there are all kinds of different uses of AI to create videos and, summaries of this and that. But I think what it's going to do is force us to be human. And we're going to be attracted to the stuff that's made by humans. It might be imperfections. There might be something about it. But I mean, I think, no offense to anyone that's had plastic surgery or anything, but we have evolved to understand in an instance when something is off with a human. We will also, and you've probably already started to notice things and go, did a human really write that? Right? You're even hearing voiceover work and things like that where it's just like a little bit off. And I don't know if you've seen Synthesia or any of those kinds of tools, but you can basically get a talking head. All you have to do is put a script in and they'll talk. But you just know the way they're looking at you and the way their lips are moving that it is not human. Maybe we'll get there with AI, but I'm not sure we will. But I'm just saying that back to authenticity. You will know when something is created by a human, and we will be clamoring for it because it's just going to get the internet. There's your social media channels. Everything's going to get overrun with stuff made with Chat GPT.
Well said, Kyle. Seriously, man. It is. I think that instantaneous thing where you just can like spot something. I bet humans evolve even more on that as this generative content is happening. Yeah. I'm really excited. I think pendulum swing in life, and I think we've been a little bit in this kind of like malaise of social media and just like lots of stuff coming at us, and I think we're going to curate out of that. We're going to like see more like, oh, this is human. Let's pay attention to it. Let's think about it. Let's be with it, and let's be inspired by it. And I think as we become more of that, I really think we're going to see a huge bloom of artists, again, over this next 5, maybe even shorter. It depends on how fast this AI rollout happens. And people kind of like, I think artists have a rebellious spirit by nature.
Yeah.
At least the ones I like, they're just kind of like, even the artists at Gantry, like it can be utopia over there sometimes, like,
Yeah.
Because that's just the nature of an artist. So I'm really excited for where humans are going to be taking their expression and how they're going to be manifesting. And hell, Kyle, we might even see something new that, maybe it's like a mashup of like holographic, songwriting while it's, doing projection art. Like I think we're going to see some new stuff, and I think it's going to come from the imagination of a human.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
So
I love it.
I'm really excited about that.
So let's talk about art just a little bit more because, I mentioned at the beginning, you are a guitarist. You love to write songs.
Yep.
You're in a band. Tell me what that's like and what kind of things do you learn from being in a band that you bring to Gantry?
Man, my poor team must just be sick of like everything's a band metaphor. Like this is just like when a lead singer, It's rampant, Kyle. Like it is something I reference on the daily. And I would say the bands coming up in bands, I started in bands with, do you want to hear a bad joke that we used to say about this one? Okay. So what do you get when you mix a penis and a potato? It's a dictator.
Okay.
So I've been in bands where there's that guy that's just like, here's your part and here's this, and like get after it and make it perfect. And you're basically just doing their thing, and you're in the band. And I learned early on that I didn't want to be a part of that type of a band. I wanted to write. I wanted to be with other musicians that are bringing ideas. I didn't like the top-down approach. So I quickly learned, in my mid-20s, starting to find bands where it was, this almost like kind of Renaissance vibe of like, dude, you just inspired me so hard. I'm a little mad at you because that was so good that I'm going home tonight and I'm going to geek and I'm going to bring you a song that you're going to get mad about that I just wrote. Like, I love the spirit of competition in a friendly environment. And I think a lot of great artists need that. They need that, like, okay, like that was badass what so-and-so just did.
Yeah.
Like it's time to G up. Like I'm going to really go hard on this next one. And so I've learned that, and I've learned kind of how to create a culture where you can be safe in that space. You can still be competitive, and you can even be vocal about it. Like, yeah, dude, I'm coming for you, you know, like,
Yeah.
And so I've really learned, and I've learned how to build that environment, and I've learned how to kind of orchestrate in that environment. Like in my bands, it's very much like Gantry, where there may be times where I'm, you know, people are looking to me, and, you know, maybe they're pitching to me, and I'm kind of like the one that's like seeding things out. Like, what about this? Because I've always been the oldest person in the room. I think that's the only reason I get that. Like, people look at me first. Like, maybe it's because I'm tall too. I don't know what it is, but definitely learning the nuances of how to operate a creative team. You know, 5 to 6 people in a room. It's just like a band, and then also how to not be stuck in, well, that's not our sound, you know, like every band I've always loved has, like, you know, you think about Led Zeppelin 3 versus Led Zeppelin 1, you know, it's like some hard rock album versus some kind of folky, you know, like trippy druid rock. My idols were always reinventing themselves and always exploring the breadth of who they were. So doing that in a band, and then realizing, oh, you got to do that same thing at a company. You can't just do, you know, 2D explainer videos forever. You've got to, like, if the team's like, dude, we've got this idea and it's really weird and it's puppets and it's, you know, like, okay, the puppets are dancing. Like, but this is a video about digital transformation, but the puppets are dancing. Like, okay, let's do it. Let's see, you know, and I can't tell you how many times you think it's going to fail. And the client's like, that's exactly why we came to you. Thank you for keeping it weird. Thank you for keeping it fresh. Thank you for not being in, you know, in this little rut that, you know, you may think not even a rut, but this little channel that you think you are in. It's like, no, you guys, you pitch what you want and you dream, and then you're not afraid to bring it to us. So I'd say being in a band, writing fun songs, writing hard songs, writing love songs, it's a lot like, you know, running a creative studio. So
Sounds like
I'm so lucky, man. I just talking to you, I'm like, I'm really lucky. I'd say 95% of my success, Kyle, is luck. I am the year of the rabbit on the Chinese food.
Okay.
Yeah, which they say is the luckiest sign. So just know a lot of this is probably just luck.
No, I love it. I think you attract it too, with your positive attitude and your optimism.
Thanks, man.
And I think it's so interesting to talk about that safety, right? Like, being in a studio with a band, or being, you know, in some kind of brainstorming session for the next video you're going to make, and creating that safe place so people are willing to share ideas. I think it's something that's very hard for people to do, especially if people are managing, or we got to get this project done. It's very hard for them to allow all the ideas to come out and then pick the best ones. And so a lot of times people clam up and won't share these ideas because they might, you know, the dancing puppets or whatever, they might just be hiding in the back. So if you're able to create that safety at work or in the band, that's leading to good results.
It is, man. It's like people will always blow you away. I've found that, like, people in the weirdest spots too. And it's like, if you can create, you know how it is. It's almost just like a room. You go into the room with the wrong lighting and it's like stark, and you're like, hey, let's get to work. It's like, I need natural light. I keep saying the word. You'll probably like run a AI transcript on this thing and it'll be like vibe was said 7,000 times. But I mean, I truly believe in vibe and environment and setting, and like really encouraging people to have a voice. And sometimes artists are natively meek, you know, and like, I don't know. And you're like, no, come on, like, give it to me. Like, tell me all this stuff, just, you know. And I think that's where I'm maybe good, is I without them even asking, I'm like sharing everything, all my stories. And I'm like, this is just a place that you work where we're like this, you know, like I try to just lead by example, like tell me everything on your mind and it's a safe place.
Yeah.
And let's just get down to it because I know there's amazing ideas everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So.
No, I love it. I love it. So tell me about your home situation, because I kind of have some theories about this, but tell me how important your life partner is to your business.
Wow. It's so cool you bring that up. I mean, your life partner, let me just say for my situation, you know, I think everyone's got their own thing. You can be on your own and just be wildly successful. But for me, my life really didn't take meaning until I met my wife, Holly. And as our relationship has kind of defined the work that, you know, we do and the way I approach my professional life and making money and, you know, just being a working dude, I really look to the example that my wife sets for me. And what she does is she is the queen of authenticity. I mean, no one in my life is more genuine and steadfast and kind-hearted as my wife. I mean, nobody I've ever met. And so to know that she's out there living her life like that, it always inspires me just to be really authentic to who I am and to do that work to like, well, then who am I? You know, like she's never been shy about challenging me to be, you know, just my most authentic self, my best self, and my happiest self. I mean, there were times where I was burning out and she's just like, it's time to bail, you know, like this isn't the life that you can live. Like, well, you can work at Walmart or something. So to know that I have someone in my life that wants me to be me, wants me to be really just the best version of myself I can be, it pumps me up, man. And I look at, you know, I think a lot of people probably have a picture of their, you know, wife and or kid if they have a little family. But I Homer Simpson that stuff, you know, it's right next to my desk and I'll look at them and I'm just like, I love you little rascals. Like I just want to like, I want to make them proud. I mean, honestly, I think I want to just make them proud and be like, my dad's cool, you know, and he's like in a band and he thinks, you know, he like makes art. And I want Holly to be like, yeah, and he also brings home a decent paycheck, you know?
Yeah.
My dad told me when I first got married and had a kid, he said, you are no longer Ben Moffat. You are now the great wallet in the sky, you know? Do your job. And I was like, okay. So, you know, I'm always trying to remember, like, you got to make sure you bring home some bacon and, like, price these projects, you know, competitively and, you know, and that's, I guess, one of the things that I'm really good at Gantry is I love managing money. I love it. I mean, and I'm pretty good at it, man. Like I do all the emails, I do all our accounting, I do all our Costco runs, I do all sales. You know, I love bringing money in, partitioning it, managing it, investing it. It's funny. I mean, it's almost like the art I like to do.
Nice.
So, you know, and I think a lot of people get nervous around money and purchase orders and master service agreements. And I see that stuff and I just light up. I'm like, oh yeah, let's get in there. Like, I love this, you know, like let's write the best statement of work they've ever seen.
And Ian and Corey are really grateful that you love that stuff.
I think so. I know
they are. They're
in those meetings before that. It's like figuring out, you know, the pricing and all that. And then they just go, all right, Ben, tell us when the PO's secured and, you know, and then you get it all done. So I think they do love that. And they do come to me occasionally for QuickBooks advice. Like, now what's our login again? Like, so yeah, we really complement each other well. And I can't say enough about Corey and Ian. Enough bad things. Just kidding. We really are kind of. I'm trying to think. Who are the perfect? You know, three. There's the Three Musketeers. There's the
Three Amigos.
Yeah. Phil Jackson was running that kind of.
The Bee Gees.
Let's stop right there. I would like to think we are the Bee Gees now.
Yeah.
But, we sing great harmony together. We challenge each other. I mean, we're so in each other's business sometimes, Kyle, that I'll send the email I'm about to send to them to get, advice and we are cross-checking each other's work a lot. And they'll even say Ben, come in here and watch this cut. As a business bro, does this make sense? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's, or that's too long. That logo, I know you don't think the logo should be bigger. The logo should be bigger. They're like, oh, it's so stupid when it's bigger. And I'm like, no, it needs to be bigger. Just being honest.
The number one ask of every designer.
I'm like, I know you don't want to hear
universe.
this. Yeah, the logo actually needs to be bigger for this one. I can't even read it. And they're like, okay. So,
Well, it sounds like you guys complement each other
we're great. And I told them they need to come in here and talk to you soon because
sure.
they have
I'd
such great perspectives outside of
Yeah.
mine. I'd love to hear their podcast.
Yeah.
But
I know Ian and Corey well, and they're sharp as could be. I mean, just super sharp.
Really sharp.
Ask the right questions, and then just make amazing things.
Amazing things, yeah. I mean, it's I really think my partner Ian is maybe the smartest person I've ever met. Not next to my wife, but Ian really is and he just has this hunger for knowledge. He's I just read 4 books. You're kind of like that, Kyle, where people that just I don't read very much. I'm out there well, I put myself in this weird situation and I try to learn something that way. But Ian's just whip smart and he knows that brevity is the soul of wit. He's just so good. And then Corey's hunger to need to know something and then just to go learn it and then just become the master of it on his own. I mean, I don't think I know anyone more tenacious than that guy. And that tenacity results in what a lot of people just call, dude, you're so talented. You're just so talented. And it's if you knew what Corey does to get these results, I watch it all the time. I'm in our whole team, but Corey's just this one example. The dude is grinding, just grinding so hard.
Putting the reps in.
Just repping out. He is.
Yeah.
What'd you do last night, man? He's I was up to 2 watching these tutorials. And I'm it's Wednesday night and we don't even have a project due, He's just well, I wanted to learn these soft body, missions. And I'm wow, dude, thank you. Because without that hunger, Gantry wouldn't be what it is.
Yeah.
Not even close.
What's something that most people don't know about you?
Ooh, I was almost in a cult.
Really?
I used to live in Montana and I was kind of in my young and reckless days of trying to be. I realized early on, all my great artists that I loved, you could feel this this energy in their work, they had lived this life, and they were singing from a place that they could relate to. And I was I really haven't had any experiences. So I went to college in Montana, and I ended up meeting these 2 kind of really interesting shut-in guys that lived across the hall from my best friend's girlfriend. So she's you got to meet these guys. They have all these jazz records. And I go over there.
That was your first sign.
Yeah, exactly. So I go over there and, sure enough, we go to knock and it's just the loudest jazz you've ever heard. And just it looks like Spicoli's walking out of there. You open the door and just smoke pills out. And I'm this is where I need to be to get that artist part of me. I need to jump into this hole and get weird. And so I jumped into the hole and it ended up being kind of right, these guys aren't just trying to show me about art. There's a little bit of brainwashing and you need to leave your parents. I went home for Christmas one year and this is back on landlines, and they just called me and they said, you need to get on the Greyhound and get back up here and denounce your parents. And I'm I love my mom, And then they're well, Jesus won't love you if you don't do this. And I'm I don't know about that. And so I was pretty borderline because I was in their little circle for a few months before I went home and kind of was able to see through the haze. I was oh, right. I can see how people can get, strong people can quickly be assimilated into a thing because someone's pushing something on them and they've got this hunger that whatever that itches they need to scratch, that person's like, yeah, I'll scratch it for you. So for me, it was being young and dumb. I think I was 20 at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I was almost, it could have been a great sex cult, but unfortunately I blew it. I blew it.
Nice.
Yep.
Is there a book that you recommend to people?
Ooh, man. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not a huge reader. The most important book that I ever read in my life was probably Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Okay.
My whole thing is chase experience, and then from those experiences, you will learn what you're made of. And then in business and life, you can reflect on those moments and be like, all right, I've either got a sense of tranquility because I've been through something way weirder than whatever this like deadline or this weird email I just got is. So for me, I would suggest Fear and Loathing to anyone who hasn't read it. I mean, if you've seen the movie, great, but the book has this cadence to it, this bite that I feel really great art has. And it's riddled with drug use and flying bats and these wild stories, which someone actually just recently said that Hunter S. Thompson was not a druggie when he made that. He was just fictitious. But I think any artist should read that book and just internalize the spirit of what Hunter S. Thompson was trying to do, which is find the heart of the American dream. Like, what is the heart of the American dream? And I think without almost like I don't know if you're into Joseph Campbell at all, but the hero's journey, the hero's journey can take many forms, whether it's going, vicariously through Hunter S. Thompson to Vegas and, doing ether and smoking human adrenaline glands, or it's, you leave home and you go up to the U as opposed to living in your parents' house. Any hero's journey is paramount to any great person, I think. And so for me, I read that book and I knew right off the bat, I needed to have my own hero's journey. It wasn't going to be this weird one, but I loved it. And it was like, oh God, this is exciting. And this is that side of the spectrum. So if I don't go like milquetoast, over here, and I kind of, on my compass, I'm veering a little bit more into the Hunter S. Thompson, but I'm having my own journey, I'm going to have a great life. So whatever book it is that inspires you to live your life, that's the kind of book I recommend, is one that inspires you to get out and live, not necessarily like, I learned these 4 principles of, strategy. It's like that stuff's great, but I think on the grander scheme, a book should inspire you to reinvent yourself and go hard at something.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the answer. Well, we're almost to the end here, but I just want to do kind of a lightning round.
Oh, sweet.
Of questions here, and get your quick takes on these. What's your favorite candy bar?
Ooh, Snickers.
Favorite musical artist?
Let's go Bee Gees.
Favorite cereal?
Captain Crunch peanut butter.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Google Gmail and Workspace, or Microsoft Outlook and Office?
G Suite for life.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Phantom or Les Mis?
Phantom. Awesome. Those are great. Oh man, thank you. I never even knew those answers, but there they were.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Another thing, there are just 2 more things I want to talk about real quickly. So you are a collector of a certain something, and I just want you to explain this obsession or how it began, and kind of talk about your collection.
With pleasure, man. Nobody ever asked me about it because it's so weird. I collect vintage cartoon glasses. It's very niche. The years I collect between are glasses made between 1962 and 1979. If you're old enough to remember, fast food restaurants used to basically offer you an opportunity to get your drink in an actual glass with a little cartoon character printed on it for an extra $1. and then you could take the glass home. Now, I had an aunt when I was a young kid that collected these glasses, and every time I would go over to her house as a kid, she had this special cabinet, and she'd say, Ben, open up the cabinet and pick whatever glass you'd want, and you'd open it, and she'd have new ones all the time because she was, they would come out like once or twice a week. There were, just so you know, I have over 450 of these glasses.
Wow.
I am outrageously out of control. I've tried to curb it. It's got a hold on me. But my aunt would just say, open it up. And that would be like, so for example, this is probably 1983. Let's go back to 1983. I opened the cabinet. There's, for example, Wendy the Witch, or Casper the Friendly Ghost, or Mighty Mouse, or, the Roadrunner. Any cartoon character that you can kind of imagine from your youth, they have pretty much made a cartoon glass for it at one time. And so that memory of picking my glass, filling it with ice, pouring my, Coke for the meal, and just like looking at it, it just, something primal triggered when I was, let's say I was 6 or 7 years old. And when I was going to have a kid, I thought, what do I want to do for my kid? I want to start giving her cool experiences. And I'm like, that was one of my favorite things. So I got on KSL and I just found an auction. This dude's like, just cleaned out this dead grandma's attic, and there was this box of glasses, $100, and so I go over to his house, and there's like, oh, I didn't know there was all of these glasses. I just remember my aunt's. I get on eBay, quickly realize there's hundreds of these things, and it's my nature I need to dig into things so deep. I need to go as deep until I'm at the very bottom. And then even then there's more, that I didn't know was down there. So quickly I bought this main set, and then I bought those main set with white letters instead of black letters. And then I bought that same set with, instead of fluted glass, it's a straight glass. And then instead of the 16-ounce glass, I bought the 12-ounce glass. And then instead of the logo on the side, the logo's under the name. And then I'm like, I'm at like 200 glasses. And then I joined this group that I found, these really cool guys. They're called the Promotional Glass Collectors Association. Oh. And that's when I realized, dude, you don't know nothing. And they're like, open this world to me. And it's these really weird older guys that are, in their 60s, and they are amazing. And we all share this love of cartoon glasses, and we have these special Facebook groups. And my wife's like, what is it with these things? I'm like, I don't know. I need them. I need to have them. They're like Pokemon. I got to catch them all, So if anyone would ever like to see them, and my collection is so nice. I have the mintiest of glasses, and I have glasses that are worth $600 a single glass.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where are they? Where do you store them?
I keep about 18 of them up in my office and kind of rotate those in and out.
Okay.
And then I keep about 12 of them up at my house, just some nice ones. And then the rest are in rough totes with, in like a cryogenic chamber, like the David Duchovny thing over his hand in Zoolander. Yeah, they are my precious. And I told my daughter, I said, these are yours, whenever you want them. And especially, if I pass. And I said, just don't sell them for like something dumb that a teenager would buy, I'll give you my dad's collection for this,
Exactly.
Please don't do that. You can get a lot more money. But I love it. I love my collection, and I'm very proud of it.
Well, so do you ever like crack a cold Coke open and pour it in and drink out of them?
That's a good point. So I keep like a couple of duplicates just up in the kitchen. They're in rotation. They're hitting the dishwasher, and we're drinking out of them. My daughter's favorite one is a Ronald McDonald one. Okay. And I really like to drink out of a Pepe Le Pew.
Love it.
I love the Pepe Le Pew. Henry Hawk will make an appearance occasionally. And then, my wife's just kind of like, I don't think she has a favorite, but she'll drink out of them. So, we get them into rotation, but not the nice ones.
Okay, so these are duplicates of the nice ones.
Yeah.
Okay. So but you get the feeling of it, but you're not sort of ruining your precious.
But Kyle, like I have a special T-shirt that I'll bring out, and then I'll like, I huff on them, and then like polish them up and hold them up to the light, and like, okay, yeah, that's looking real nice. And then I'll like line them up carefully. I wonder if like part of me is a little OCD. Like I've never really thought that, but that there's something that I do, and I'm like, like, did you have action figures as a kid or everything?
Yeah.
Like you'd set them up, and like it's 100% that. Yeah. It's like I got to have all these action figures. I got to set them up, and I got to like look at them, and like. So I love it, and if you should come see them, man.
I've got to see them.
They're so great.
I've got to see them. I remember them. It would take
that's
me back.
right. That's right.
It would take me back for sure. I think Taco Time did it. I think several different Arctic Circle.
They all did them, man. Yeah. And it's it's a cool story, and I think a lot of the other thing I really like about it is it's pop art. They're beautiful. The colors that they used back then. I mean, everything's so vibrant and glossy, and it's pop art. So
for sure.
Yeah, I'm like, I love it.
I love it, and it made me think of OCD and the use of OCD, because if you are into something, you probably exhibit OCD behavior, and I just love your passion for it. I love hearing about it.
Thanks, man.
I don't know how I knew you did that, but did you do a video or something related to it for Gantry?
We had started because the team's like, dude, this is weird. We need to make a video about it. And we started a video, and that was pre-pandemic, and then client work took over. But it is actually on the slate, I think, to revisit it. So if we revisit it, this could get picked up.
Sure.
This is just weird enough where if someone could be like, I need more of that. Like we could tell the stories of all the other collectors. Like
for sure.
You could do a series on this.
Why there's not a documentary on it right now, I don't
Glass
know.
hunters, just out there. Just like
Glass hunters. I love it. So where can people find Gantry? Where can people find Ben Moffat? Where can people find King Niko?
Nice. So Gantry is Gantry.tv, GANTRY.tv, like television. And that's where you can really see most of our work. We're out on the social medias and LinkedIn. I'm out there pretty active. But really just come to our website or call me up, and I'll have you over to the office and show you everything. I mean, I love being with people and talking to people in real life.
And you're in the Crane building, right? Pretty close to here.
Really close, man. And we love the Crane building. It's, a gantry is a type of crane.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird that we're in the Crane building, but we love that spot. Good vibes there. And then for me, I mean, I'm pretty much off the grid. I really love privacy, know, and I do have a social media presence or a little bit, but I also really like to be low profile. Yeah. And so I keep my friends real close, and I like to share everything I can, but really to kind of know me well, call me up and let's bro out and let's just have a drink and, let's talk. But I do. Don't you love people that have a little sense of mystery? You're kind of like,
for sure.
Yeah, you're a little weird and I don't know everything about you. So I've always liked to try to do my best to maintain that. And then King Niko, the best spot is Spotify or Apple Music, and it's King Niko. Our music is to make girls dance. That was the focus. That's still what we try to do. It comes in different flavors, like we talked about earlier. It's not always, just upbeat hi-hats and things, but we tell all stories of, making girls dance. There's sometimes slow dances, so. But awesome. Yeah, I love my band just as much as I love the artist at Gantry. Same kind of thing, just almost like a little family,
For sure. And you've been with King Niko for how many years now?
Whoa, dude.
What's the anniversary date? Seriously.
We started in April of 2009. So, wow. Oh my gosh, I don't want to think about that. We've been around a while.
Is it 14 years?
Yep.
Is my math correct?
Yeah, I think so, man.
Okay.
All I know is we were a pretty big deal in 2011. So we played with Jared Leto, we were the band of the year for City Weekly, and that was kind of fun to be like the kind of, the guy on the scene for a little bit. But then I quickly realized, like, I'm not chasing that fame. I know who I am. I just want to write cool songs with my friends and rock out. And that's the itch, that I need to scratch.
I love it.
Thanks.
I'll include links to all things Ben, Gantry, and King Niko in the show notes. And despite your private personality, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Ben, and being generous with your time. I hope your other two partners, Ian and Corey, can be guests in the very near future. And I'm looking forward to celebrating many more Gantry anniversaries in the future. So thank you, Ben, for being a guest on the podcast.
Thanks, Kyle. This was fun, man. You've got a good thing going on here. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a good time.
Yeah, me too, man. Thank you again.